you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Hello, everyone. This is Harold Green of Brightree, and it is time to stop doing what you hate. Hope you folks are having a fantastic day today. Yesterday, I celebrated my 51st birthday, and man, it was a bit of a wake-up call. Being 50 years old it's a big thing, but then when you turn 51, I think that's also a big thing, because it kind of makes you realize that, like, I got 9 years and I'll be 60, and then 5 years after that, it'll be 65, and then 5 more years after that. Next thing you know, man, it's like you're dead. So sometimes you start playing that stuff forward too fast, and you forget to just sit back, enjoy the moment, take it all in, appreciate the friends, appreciate the family, and just be really thankful for everything that you have. And that's what I kind of did, but I'm probably going to be taking a little bit more time to sit down and just really hone in on what it is that I'm doing as far as my mental, my health, physical, financial, spiritual, emotional, all of that, and just kind of take stock of what's going on. But today I have a show I want to talk to you about something. It's something very important. And my goal is to help people get into 3%. As they say, only 3% of retirees in the United States will retire with everything that they're ever going to need to last them their entire lives. But then that begs the question, why is it only 3%? Why isn't it 5%? Why isn't it 10%? Other countries, they have an easier time with this than we do. Why is it such an issue in the United States? And I think I've kind of cracked the code on this. And I'm going to be very careful how I share this with you folks, because I have a lot of clients that listen to the show. And if you are a client that listens in regularly, I want to thank you very much. And I want to thank all the referrals that are now listening. And I appreciate you folks greatly. And what I'm about to say in today's show is no indictment on anybody or anything like that. And I really want you to understand that. And so I want to get into the title of the show, Mental Barriers to Making Money in the Stock Market. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's get it. So here's a $64,000 question. When you hire a money manager, what is it that you want from them? Like, when you go sit down and you talk to the gentleman or the gentle lady, whichever you prefer, do you ever think about exactly what it is that you want from them before you even hire them? Like, do you have a checklist and you sit down and say, honey, we're going to go talk to this guy, and here's exactly what I want from him or her. And if they can give me what I want, they're hired. I don't even have to see the guy. Don't even know what he looks like, what he smells like, what his favorite food is. I don't care. But if he can give me this one thing, he's hired. Do you do that? Does anyone do that? No, they don't. They go in with some preconceived ideas and some emotions of the past, right? Things that have happened to them, and they got baggage going into that meeting. And here's the thing. Most people hire an advisor or a money manager because they like them and they get along with them. And I think that's a good thing, but that's not the reason to hire someone. I'd like to talk about the traditional issues that have held, so many people back, and it starts with one title. And that title is trusted advisor. And in my world, everyone's jockeying to become a trusted advisor. And I think being trusted is important. But to me, this sounds more like a success coach than anything. You call them up, you get updates on your numbers, you talk about a lot of different things. You talk about kids, you talk about your marriage sometimes, you talk about a lot of stuff. And it starts to kind of sound like a therapy session. And to be honest, I've built my business on this very thing, and people work with me because, they like me and they trusted me. And I think that's cool. They were really impressed with my presentations, because I do a lot of public speaking before. We used to, pack out a Dave and Buster's and just have tons of people come in, feed them dinner. I got on stage and I would do my presentation, and, and not too many people know this, but I hated public speaking. I mean, When I was a kid growing up, if I had to speak in public, I would like darn near wet my pants. This is just how I was just so chicken about saying anything in public, right? So I would have to practice those presentations every day for hours. Every day I would come in the office and I'd be there by myself. I would come in early and stay late in my own office practicing these presentations. And so people were pretty impressed with the speaking ability and my confidence that I could get the job done for them. And so, for the most part, I have. But in today's financial world, with all the turmoil and stuff like that going on, I think people are needing a little more emotional help than financial help. Now, I'm not making light of emotional issues. Like, if you know you got something going on, I'm going to tell you now, really seek out some professional help. And I always talk about that because it's very important. But this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. No, I really do care about my clients, and at the same time, there are limitations to the advice that I should be giving or sharing with them. And quite frankly, I've had to tell clients, hey, look, please hire a therapist to work through these issues because every time we talk, the same thing keeps coming up and it's causing problems for you financially. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mind consoling clients when they go through difficult situations, but I've had to realize, when I'm overstepping my boundaries. And here's the thing. As a fiduciary, I am liable for the advice that I give my clients. I'm very liable for the trades that I make. I am super liable. And I'll get into some of the stuff in a second. But honestly, what am I really supposed to be doing for my clients? And as a person they've trusted to manage the money, what is my job? And I think a lot of trusted advisors have lost touch with this. And how do I know? It's simple. And it's two main reasons why people come on board and they hire me. Number one, the last advisor, money manager they had was a nice and likable person, even a friend, even a family member sometimes, but they were not giving that client 100%. Now, I'm not talking about 100% returns, but I'm talking about like 100% effort. It was like little contact, little follow up, and that led to a little returns. And I'm not beating up on anybody or their strategy, but we're talking about the 3% thing here. The second thing I found was, they were tired of trying to figure it out on their own and how to make money in the market. It just became too complicated. And I'm going to do a show a little bit later on about when to sign off. Like, when are you too old to be managing your money? And I was talking to a client, friend, ex-coworker yesterday, and we were talking about her situation with one of her parents and how to the very end of their life, they were still trying to manage their investment portfolio. It is what gave them spunk every day. It's something that they look forward to. But eventually we're going to talk about when you should be signing off, right? You can keep some and manage some, but when to turn over the big guns to the sharpshooters, okay? So to me, it's no wonder with all the trusted advisors in the world that only 3% of the people in the United States will retire with enough to live on. Now, I'm trying to be careful what I'm saying here. And I'm going to go on record. I'm going to say something that I may regret, or will I? If you want to make money in the market, you don't necessarily need a trusted advisor. What you need is a hired assassin. You need somebody that is going to go out there. You're going to crawl around in the bushes. If they got to sleep in the woods for 3 days or whatever it is to find what they need to find and to get the job done, they're going to do that. No, when you give a star athlete like a $200 million contract, are they paying that star athlete to be a trusted advisor to the team? No, they are paying that person to perform. And for me, when I haven't done things for a client the way I'm supposed to do them or the way that client expected or whatever the reason was, I got fired, right? And it is my goal to never get fired by a client ever again. Absolutely never. And if a person fires me, it's not going to be my fault moving forward. It's most likely going to be theirs. It's going to be something they misunderstood or something they didn't do or something that they weren't clear about, something that they wanted, that they thought they were going to get. Whatever. We are going to do a much better job when we bring people on board of setting the stage. Now, here's what you really need. You really need an active money manager that you can trust to get the job done. Not necessarily one that you like, but you need that hired assassin that like, hey, yo, this guy or this girl, I mean, they're going to get it. They're going to give it to you every day, right? Whether you're watching the trades or not, they're going to give it to you. No, here's the thing. I didn't hire the repair guy to come tune up my AC because I liked him. I hired him because he's going to make my AC run better. And if we can have a conversation at the end of it that makes me like him, great. But the thing is my AC is running better, and that's all that really matters, right? If I can make a human connection, that's all great. But I'm focusing on the primary thing first. Not, hey, let me talk to the guy first and see if I like him. And then if I like him, I'll hire him to repair my AC. No, I'm looking at it the other way. I think it's a plus if you like the advisor, but here's where the problem is. And again, I'm going to be careful. When you like somebody, you become biased and you start to overlook their shortcomings. You kind of tend to forgive and overlook things that need to be addressed. And I have clients that like me, but they're not afraid to give me the harsh criticism when they think I deserve it. Like they'll tell me, Mr. Harold, you know what? I think that trade you made sucked. They're not really questioning me per se, but they're just kind of giving me, they've thought about it and they want to talk to me about it. And they, they're not trying to hurt my feelings. They're just trying to let me know how they feel about it in no uncertain terms. And I appreciate that, right? Well, I give it to them, they give it to me, back and forth. We have that kind of professional relationship. And if we like each other, that's a plus. But the goal is to make them as much money as I possibly can for the various reasons that they've hired me to. Now, to avoid some of the stuff, I had to change my style just a little. I don't allow certain clients to tell me how they think a certain stock will perform because they like it. Because when it goes bad and they lose money, that's my fault. That means if they lose, I'm not really doing my job. It's not my fault they wanted that position, but it's my job to give them the proper information and say, yo, if they choose something like that, something different, I'm fine with it. But I've given them the information up front. But getting into the thick of it, I want to take a look at the 30,000 view of things if I could. And I want to go back to the mental barriers, and because I think this is super important. Now, some people think that hiring an active money manager costs too much. Every time I dig into the reason why there's only a 3% population that have enough is because they've gotten over this whole fee thing. Either they've gotten over the fee thing or they've figured it out on their own, one of the two. And they've been told the only thing you need to do is to buy some funds or to buy some stocks with low fees and to hold them. So naturally, when they go to hire somebody, what are they looking for? How low are the fees, right? What are the fees? What are the fees? What are the fees? Not like are they going to get the job done? They're looking at the fees. And here's what they don't realize. They are handicapping their potential gains tremendously, and they don't even know it. So they hire the person because they like them and the fees are low. And after a while, one or two things are going to happen. Number one, they're going to stay with that person just so happen, they're going to stay with the person because they just so happen to beat the S&P by a little bit each year and the fees are low. Number two, I think they're going to leave the person because although the fees are low, the performance is just not there. Or number three, and this is a big bonus, they are so codependent on this person for emotional support, they ignore everything else. They forget the reason why they were there. Now, what I've seen when looking at a lot of these statements from people coming in is this. A ton of mutual funds recommended by the analysts at these large firms with a small number of stocks and no options. Now, I'm not saying options is for everybody, but I'm saying if you're going to be invested in the market and you have the appropriate level of risk, all investments do carry risk, right? Past performance is no guarantee of future returns. Please do your due diligence. Now, here's the thing. When I see that, it means that the advisor is not going scorched earth trying to find anything that will perform at great lengths and move the needle on the portfolio. They're just not doing that. And I told you earlier why people come on board with me. Now, I'm going to tell you why they stay and why they leave, because this is important. Nobody has a 100% success rate with clients. People come and people go. And I'm going to call it the case of the Johns, all right? Not bathroom Johns, but John, like the people named John, or just some Johns and some Johns. So I'm going to talk about John A. And John A hired me some years ago as they needed some help managing their portfolio. They had big ideas and, grandiose ideas of retirement outside Hawaii. The wife, she hated her job. She needed to quit because it was just causing a lot of mental stress and a lot of mental anguish. Like every time we met, it's like, oh God, how are you doing? Oh, Harold, I'm hanging in there, but I hate my job. I got to get out of there. So I built this plan for John A to get his wife out of that job ASAP and retire somewhere outside of Hawaii. I mean, we had showed renting the house and buying a new house. I mean, it was decked out. It was a great plan, I think. It was going great at first, but when the market fell apart one year, I tell you now, I was at a conference call and I got this phone call and they were just panicking. They were freaking out. They were just like, "Oh my God, I hate this. This market is so bad. I hate losing money and da da da." I'm like, "Oh, yo, slow down. This is going to be a phenomenal position. You just have to hold it through this little downturn." And I kid you not, that position, I think it's up 300%. If they would have just held on to it, they would have got paid. Now, here's what happened. John A forgot that he liked me and all the time that we had spent hanging out and the great plan that I built. John A liked me. We had a lot of good conversations and a lot of deep conversations. And again, this is early on in my business because he focused in on 2 months of the market not performing and went back to his old advisor because you know what he said? He said he liked him more, right? He stopped liking me and he started liking somebody else. It's just kind of like, it's like the dating world. You're doing great. And next thing you know, she finds another dude that she likes more and boom, she's gone. And people are like that when it comes to money sometimes. And I'm telling you, that is a big mental barrier to your success. Now I'm going to talk about John B. John B and his wife, they came on board with a very different mindset. Personally, you know what? I've never met John B. I don't even know what he looks like. Excuse me, but I should have said, I don't even know what he looks like. But I said, I don't even know what he looks like. But John B made one thing very clear. John B said this. He said, "Harold, I don't care about how you do your job. I don't need to know how you do your job. I don't need to see any trades. All I need to know is that you're getting the job done and you're sending me the money that I need, and I'm going to be absolutely fine." Now, here's the thing. Why was John B so confident, right? They came over from a very large firm that was super well known with a ton of clients and marketing all throughout the United States. And however, they was not getting the job done for them. And, and they told me, say they had no ideas of who to talk to, where to go. And until here's what happened. Somebody that they had heard about, like, retired early, and somebody that they knew that person. And I don't even know who this person is, but they know about me. And so the conversation went like this. And she said, I was just talking to this person and I was saying, "Hey, I'm retiring. I got, this money set aside in my retirement account. And I don't even know who to talk to. The people that I'm working with now, they're managing some money for me, but they're just bouncing me around all over the place. They're not taking care of me the way I need to be taken care of. And where do I go?" And he said, "But I heard about this guy and you should give him a call." And the funny thing is that person who referred me hasn't even called me yet. And if you're out there and you're listening, fantastic. I'd love to talk to you because I think you would be a pretty cool client to work with, right? Especially if you're already giving my name to people and you haven't even called me just because of what you heard that I've done for somebody else. I think that is pretty cool. So what I did for John B is I created a trading strategy for him that allows them to live better than they ever imagined, as long as I can keep it up. And and it's up to them how they spend the funds that I send them each month. That's not my problem. It's in the plan, and this is something the other firm did not provide for them. Why? Because they were stuck in their own world, right? They were stuck in what they think a client can achieve based on their ideas, and not what was actually achievable. And I've talked to somebody about this the other day. Clients are being pigeonholed into, this should be your risk tolerance. If you meet this criteria, this is what you ought to be doing, blah, 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 blah. Just crazy stuff. And I just think so many people are stuck on getting along with someone or liking them before they do business with them. And I've seen all these things about dating your clients and romanticizing them when the real job is what? It's to make them money. Now, here's the thing. If you have a team of people and they're making your clients money while you wine and dine the clients, that's great. Chances are this is it's probably some kind of hedge fund. And the average advisor, they don't have that kind of time and money to pull off both. Yes, we do some of that at our firm, but not much of it. The truth is that, if you're not getting the job done, unless you're in an unhealthy relationship with that client, they're gone as soon as they find somebody else better that they like and trust more in you. And honestly, I don't need to be liked. I need to be trusted. and left alone to do my job. And what I'm saying is I don't like when people try to look over my shoulder or micromanage what I have going on just because 1 or 2 quarters doesn't look great, and they're trying to compare me with 1 or 2 quarters compared to the S&P or whatever. As a client or a potential client, your job is to manage the distractions in your life and to do your best to follow the plan that we created, and that's going to create a win-win situation for us. Now, the clients that get the absolute worst results on my firm are the ones that give me the green light to manage the money, but then, they throw up a bunch of obstacles to me getting the job done, and they don't follow the plan. It's like your kid is being bullied at school and you hire me as the bodyguard and you say, okay, I want you to be the bodyguard, but I'm going to tie your hands behind your back. You can't use your arms. You can only protect them with your feet. That ain't going to work. Now, here's the thing. I don't criticize people, but I do let them know that, hey, look, if you want what you say you want, then you got to get either on the bus or get off the bus, because sometimes being nice is one thing, but not taking care of business the right way will cause more real harm than just hurting somebody's feeling. I'll tell you straight up. Now, I'm having to go a little deeper than I like, because the emotional side of this is what causes the most problem. And you have to ask yourself this very thing. Do I want someone that's going to make me money, or do I need a friend? Right? Do I want my guy to make me money? Do I want my girl to make me money? Do I want my person to make me money? Or am I just with them because I like them and they're just such a cool friend, right? Now, some people say, well, look, both would be nice. But if that's your answer, then sometimes it's going to get a little sticky. And as a money manager, it puts me in a weird spot. First and foremost, like I said, I'm a fiduciary, and I can be held accountable when I don't do my job. And if I'm afraid to do my job because I'm going to hurt your feelings, that's a problem. And the one thing I know for sure is that I cannot not do my job because I'm afraid of hurting a friend. I don't want that. And my clients that are close to me, they know that. So in wrapping this up, if you want to be a part of the 3% of people in this country, all right, you need to delineate what the professionals on your team are supposed to do. Are they supposed to take you out, wine you, dine you, and do all that stuff and say nice things and platitudes to you? Or are they supposed to be getting the job done? No. If you can have a nice relationship with them on the side and they have the personal space and capacity to do so for you, that may be a bonus, right? That's great. And at the end of the day, you want that phone call saying, it's finished. We got the job done. You can retire at such and such age. The numbers match up. Your kids can go to school. You can take the vacations. You can pay for the wedding. You can just live life, do all the things you want, right? And if you're looking for someone to finish the job for you, then take the next steps. Check out our show notes. Follow the instructions in there. Get on my calendar so we can see if we can knock this off for you or not. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And until next time, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.